I apologize for any of you. Oh, we don't have any viewers anyway, so we lost them all.
Okay.
That might have been
Keep
good.
going then.
We're good. So, I just seen that as an interesting tool. Funding, it's going to be a challenge. I realize that to get some of it as elaborate as that, but I'd like to start working on some of those ideas of maybe going through the old book. Maybe we'll take like a section at a time per meeting and just kind of go through it and start hitting some highlights of what we see as a planning commission, or a couple of sections. So if you have one of those books, if you don't have one, let me know. We'll make sure we get some.
I have extra copies, so
There's
if you
extra
don't
copies.
have a comprehensive plan copy, you won't want to take home with you.
I think we all look into doing something like that.
You have one?
Because, not from a development standpoint, but, 10 years from down the road, I might still be here if I'm living in town. You guys might
Yeah.
move to warmer climate or something, and I'll be there one day. I'm just saying, that way the people could look back and go, okay, this is what they were actually trying to do, and it was easier for them to read than flipping through.
Well, I think there's some timelines and some graphs that we can do to kind of help facilitate
Project,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
project some things out. I did have an interesting conversation with Bob Brennan the other day. I was down there the other day, and he says, "So what happened to the annexation? Did it just stop?" And I said, "No, we're still going forward." And he goes, "Well, nobody's hit me about it." So there's some large changes happening down there at that farm in their operation, and I think this is becoming a more possibly appealing idea to him for future.
Where is that location? I'm sorry.
Okay,
I don't
so
know all the town names.
I understand. So the Brennemans only what I'm gonna call it, refer to as the Golden Triangle down here is what we always, everything from 39 to 40.
Okay.
He owns everything east of the sewer plant, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he owns quite a bit on the north side of the road too. There's 870 some acres there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the big green barns on the north side of the road, that's actually owned by a Davis farm.
Right.
They used to have an orchard over there, so you see all those trees. They're currently like cleaning up all the debris
Right.
out of there. But
Yeah.
so Brenneman's on this side of those green barns,
Okay.
with the house and the other farm equipment
Okay.
this way. But then on the south side, he owns that pretty much that whole area, and he even farms on Mr. Penner's property, this side of the wastewater treatment plant as well. But
Okay.
and so he's
He's a large landholder. I mean, for us to have, but the fact that he even brought it up, I felt was a good sign. Maybe we get some interest out of him.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back and have some more conversations with him here in the next few weeks, hopefully. Find out what his position is on that.
Okay.
But that was kind of encouraging. I haven't had any conversations with James, and I haven't been able to get a hold of Mike about what he was talking about doing around the lake. I called twice, and we're playing phone tag. So as soon as I get a hold of Mike Willard, maybe we'll know something about what his kind of intentions are around the lake up there. I'd just like to see some. If we get some idea, maybe that'll help us develop our plan, is what I'm just kind of hoping for. But that's really about all I've got tonight. I don't have a lot. If there's something you made some comment earlier, if you had something you wanted to talk about, or
well, in regards to the comprehensive plan,
okay,
we're asking Baker Tilly to help us with a capital asset tracker and then a capital asset management, but they can't really go forward with a capital asset management if we don't know what are we trying to manage towards. So a comprehensive plan sets forward, like, here are the things that the town wants to grow towards or focus on, and so that helps them decide what to put in a capital asset management plan.
Which
So-
direction to go?
What's that?
Which direction to go?
Yeah, and so that'll be something that will help. You talked about funding. Okra will provide us a nice grant for a comprehensive plan. However, we can only apply to one Okra grant at a time. And right now, with what the town wants to do to improving our sewer and wastewater treatment plant and stuff, we really want to use our application this year
Right.
towards a $700,000 grant to help us keep our sewer rates where they're at now. Because I mean, we jumped them up pretty significantly this year, and we don't want to have to move them up anymore. So that a $700,000 grant from Okra will be a significant help in that direction. So that would happen.
2022.
Well, the grant application would happen in late October, and then we would be awarded that grant late November, December area. So it would be 2022 before we could apply for a grant for a comprehensive plan. Now, what the presentation last month talked to us about is whatever grant Okra gives us towards our comprehensive plan, that's what they will spend. So if Okra gives us $30,000, they'll make it so that we get a $30,000 valued comprehensive plan.
And that's why that small town plan looks so great.
Oh,
is
no, yeah.
because I think it was a $45,000 plan, so.
So, and that's how we paid for this one that we did back in 2009, is we got an Okra grant then also, which, you know, last year it was brought up, and one of the worries that was mentioned was, well, we already got an Okra grant for it, so we can't do it again, and that's not true. Okra will allow you to get another grant to pay it. It's just that we can't do two in 1 year. So
Right.
the you know, the comprehensive plan is important, but if we wait one more year for the comprehensive plan, we haven't lost too much. Whereas if we blow off the sewer plant,
We've lost a lot.
wastewater treatment plant upgrades or things, then we could, you know, run into some problems with IDEM
Sure.
saying your plant's not
No,
compliant or whatever. But so that's why my own personal opinion, and the other town council members can weigh in on this as well. I would like to see the town continue to hold on to the Okra application for our wastewater treatment plant this year, and worry about our comprehensive plan application grant next year with Okra, and see what happens.
No, I agree.
That's
I totally agree.
Just my thought.
But
But
I think
I do
there's-
like what you were talking about, is just
Go through it.
dissect this
Yeah.
piece at a time, and
Because
say,
there's
here's
things
what
we could
want
go
to
through and
for
put our opinion as this group's opinion into that, and then if anything changes from our surveys and anything else, then we can adjust it at that point. But let's get some general ideas of direction we wanna go.
Right.
That was my opinion of that, was trying to just take a piece at a time to go through it. It's been a long time since I've done a lot of work on it. I was on the first group to do it, but that's 7, 9, whatever it was.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
it's-
you started the process back in 2007
Right.
and finished it in 2009.
Yeah,
So
so-
it's a lengthy process.
It's a process. It's
Yeah.
not something you just,
Now, when you do the Okra grant process, it's about 9 months. You gotta get through it.
yeah, so reasonably, we're not even gonna get into this till late 22 to 23 before we can even get started. But it's just the idea, if we keep that idea for that grant money open for 22, I realize other things could change. And I understand that.
Right.
But-
But it would be good, like you said, dissect this, talk about, you know, where we as a planning commission can, you know, really help get information out about what we want to do to the rest of the town. I mean, we all live and work here, so we can certainly start interacting with the public about what would you like to see in a comprehensive plan? What would you like to see the town focus on? What's your, you know, opinions on these things, and get them thinking about it.
No, I agree, totally. I think that's well, anybody else got anything for the, yes ma'am.
Jeff and I are just wondering, where we are in that, somebody was approaching the post office, that there's a private landowner, I guess, in Plainfield, it was explained to us by Dan, that owns part of, or leases part of that ground to the post office.
Mhm.
And they were going to inquire about possibly using that as public parking, and that was started like back
That was
last
2 months ago, I
September.
mentioned that, and I have
Yeah.
not been able to get a hold of that guy.
Yeah,
No,
So,
I'm still,
we were just wondering, because we're getting closer and closer to being able to open the ground floor of the large building and start leasing those booths to people,
mhm.
for the customs, kind of, repurposed shop, kind of, antique mall kind of thing. And right now, we're gonna have to use the part of the parking lot we have, which we need for the front business, but we can spare part of it. And as you've seen, there's a business here in town that uses those spots right in front of our store. It's a little better. There's 1 or 2 spots open occasionally now. It used to be 3 to 4 spots gone every single day until 5 or 6 at night, sometimes 7, and sometimes on the weekend. So it's been real hard for the little girl that's renting
I
from
believe
us.
so.
Yeah,
I saw something on the
we-
Facebook post that
They're moving, we
Yeah,
understand that they're moving.
Mhm.
they were looking to move into a bigger facility, from what I read a comment.
So I think that opens up for 3 spots, is that correct? Because there's one that where no one's supposed to be in. I guess the state said, That yellow
There should be
zone.
1, 2, 3, maybe 4 spots there, 3 or 4 spots, cause I parked at the very end,
yeah.
south
Yeah.
end.
And, so that would be great if we could get some information on that, because once all of that opens, there's no way that little spot that we have for our side business, Allegiant Precision Tool, that my husband's hoping to do full-time soon and leave his day job, because he's tired of working 2 full-time jobs. We're gonna need that too, so we're like, man, we're landlocked, and just wanna know if anybody has any ideas, if you know anything that we can do to help the town with parking.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of walking, and Bartlett's house, building, whatever you wanna call it, over here, just across the street, it has a sign that's been on it for well over a year,
Long guy.
that it's, I don't know if it's condemned,
Yes.
or,
There's your parking lot.
yes, exactly, I'm thinking, we really need to get on
We approached
what's
him.
happening with that building.
We approached him, he said he would sell it to us if we promised not to use it for parking. If we
Yeah, I think
promised
he
not to
sold
demo
2 of
it.
the
But
other
we were
ones.
told he sold 2 of the other properties, and he
Yeah.
sold that one possibly as well.
Oh,
He
last time
hasn't sold that one, cause
He
I
sold the other
talked to him,
corner.
I talked to him, see, his clutch went out a couple weekends ago,
okay.
and he was out at Cox's, and I talked to him a little bit, I didn't get into detail. But I said, did you sell that house? And he goes, not that one, I sold a couple other, and he was talking
Yeah.
about whichever ones he owned. But I don't know what their plans are. But he didn't really I think he would sell. He's like anybody, I think he would sell if you put the right amount of money in front of him,
Well, we
but
don't-
what is the right amount of money to put in front of him to tear, help him put that stone down?
Yeah.
I furnishing pictures of the house.
But
I know what you're saying.
whether we get him to sell that place, or, whether, not that we get him, but whether he sells that place or not, and I don't know if that's planning or if
That
that's
would be
town
the
board,
town
but
council.
we need to do something about, why put a thing on somebody's house and say, hey, you gotta do something with this property?
Yeah.
And then just, it's been up there for at
But
least
was
a
it-
year.
But here's the question, just from a legal standpoint, was it done legally, or was it just to the T legally? To put the sticker up there, or was it something that
It's-
maybe Dan and somebody,
It
not saying
looks
it was
legal.
Dan, but just saying somebody walked up there and put the sticker up there,
No,
and maybe they
it
didn't
looks like a
follow.
legal thing.
Well,
Cause I know
that
there's
Dan
steps
had
that you
done-
have to do
Yeah.
to condemn a property, and you have to have a fire marshal, if I remember
Well, I
correctly.
think
go in.
he did some sort of stress or
And
something to,
there's certain steps you have to do, and I know you have to
Well,
have.
I think we're just at the beginning of the steps.
Okay,
It was like a piece of paper that says you have so many days to do something about this, and if you don't, then we're gonna
Yeah.
go on and condemn it or whatever. So I think it's just has started the steps, and then it's just kind of like
stop,
faltered.
right.
It's not just that property, it's that other property that Dan was working with some guy for quite a while, and he was supposedly cleaning it up, and I think it's gone back to having junk cars and stuff back in it.
Where's that at?
That's, oh
Right behind
gosh,
the Baptist
is it
church.
Ohio?
No, it's
Is that
it's
Ohio?
on
Oh,
Pennsylvania,
that's,
48.
Something about it for kids.
Ferguson's.
Ferguson, Mike Ferguson's.
Yeah, he pulled a few of them out of there, but I haven't seen him around town in a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
He
he
lives
started
in
kinda doing
Mooresville
something
now.
and then it just kinda has stopped.
Well, one of the things that Pete and I talked about this last week was actually sitting down and try to talk to Don about, can we come to an agreement and work on this? So, and I think since Pete knows him, that would be he would be a good point person to take that
I don't
on.
remember his dog's name, I don't know his dog's
He
name.
calls her baby, when he gives us the rent check for the brick building, he calls her baby and wants me to give her a hug.
Yeah.
And I'm an animal lover, but she's
Yeah, but-
Cujo,
Yeah.
so, yeah, but he calls her baby, that's all I know.
Just a side question for you. On that building, is he supposed to get that truck out of there sometime soon?
He needs help.
No, the
really-
reason I ask is because he come to me, he wrecked his van
Oh, bless his
And-
heart, yeah.
several months
Again?
ago. It was last fall
Oh,
or whatever,
okay,
when
yeah, I
we
knew about
pulled it
that.
out, right? The guy hit him down on 39.
Yeah,
He paid, I gave him the receipt to give to the insurance, and I don't think that they ever fully paid for it.
oh,
But he paid me, he got me talking about the truck, and he paid me in advance, but I think he was doing it to pay for that. But he had said, hey, we're gonna have to get this truck out of here, can you help me get it out? And I said, we gotta get, all this stuff off of it so we can get it, cause I'm gonna have to drag it sideways to.
have you been in it? Have you been in our building? I don't know how we're gonna
And
get
he had
it.
the door, oh, I can get it out.
You can get that out?
Oh, I can get that out. I'm a record operator, I can get it.
Records, keyword.
Oh, I get it out of there, damn straight. It went in the hole, it went out.
I don't know if it was built, put back together when it was put in there or
It'd be a
what.
whole lot easier if it ran, but no, I can get it spun and drug out of there, and that was the deal, and he never
Yeah,
come back and said anything, so I didn't know.
yeah.
I was just trying to figure out what.
We're giving him as much time as we can, so we started working on other projects, cause bless his heart, he just couldn't get it done, and we had
There's a lot of stuff.
we had a crew working on our buildings, and he kept asking them to come over and help him, and we gave, we said, okay, so we're basically paying them to help him get the stuff out, and then we had a crunch time to get that building ready so we could get some money for it,
Right.
and, we had to quit doing that, but,
So it'll be one day he'll come down and drag it out. That's fine. I was just curious. I didn't
Oh, that's
know because he acted like they're gonna do it within a couple weeks, and it's been months. since
I
they've
don't
done
know
it.
how.
Well, I mean, as part of our initial discussion on this, I believe the town would be able to benefit greatly from a parking lot, especially right here in the town business district area. And so if there's a way we can move forward with finding out from Don, how much will you sell us this building
I have his
and
number.
property, huh?
I have his number, so.
So, and then, get him to back off of the promise not to tear it down part, because that's the only thing that we would want it for, is let's have a parking lot that'll allow customers to come into our downtown area and, visit the shops that we're trying to bring in.
Also makes it better for meetings here, I mean.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a function here, we have more parking for,
Right,
I think that's a big hindrance for people to come to a meeting is if you don't walk in, we get more than 5, 10 cars and we've got a crowded,
right.
So you're talking about
One
the
other
town
place that we
purchasing
should,
that?
It doesn't matter to me who buys it, I just think that from a planning and building perspective, having a parking lot there
Yeah.
would benefit the town better than a condemned building.
Yes,
So, okay,
a town
If-
parking lot, public parking lot.
I can say this because we know people. If it is condemned building and you guys started the condemning process and the town, say the town or you or whoever buys it, therefore it's still tagged condemned, at that point you can't help but tear it down because it's a condemned structure and you can't rehab a condemned structure.
Right. I can't buy it.
I mean, just tell,
So I can't.
I know, I'm just saying technically that's by default you have, the only thing you can do
Right.
is.
I think if you
See where
approach
I'm
them,
going with that?
if you approach them with the, if you broach the subject with it is a beautiful house, cause that's all he keeps saying when I've spoken with him about it, is it's a beautiful house, it's a great house, and if you just keep telling him it is, it's a lovely house. But unfortunately, I think it's no longer safe. Maybe if a gentleman takes that approach with him, then you know, I think there's some sentimentality there, but you know, I don't mean this with any disrespect. He obviously also is a hoarder. I mean, he's got places all over, and he will not throw away a receipt from McDonald's from 19. You know, I'm exaggerating, but still, it's bad. Like it's a box of wadded up tape, you know, that you can't ever reuse.
Right.
He will not relinquish.
I think the other property that we should probably look at would be the old, car wash. I mean,
That would be
that
so
would,
wonderful
that
if
would
we
be a good
developed.
place to have some parking.
That's already owned by.
When I first came here, that's what they talked about doing. The town council talked about doing that 10 years ago.
Well, but I mean, unless Klein wants to sell, I mean, I don't know what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
Scott's talked about moving his operation to Coatesville, but they haven't done it yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, so
He's talked about expanding into where that car wash is too.
talked about
He's
putting
told me
offices
that
in there
times.
because they're getting busier and busier.
That's great. That's
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of work and they're growing.
Well,
So-
my question is too, don't we have a big green grassy area? I know it doesn't fit right next to where, right here, but don't we have this great big green grassy, not great big, but you can get 5-6 spots right there next to the pantry?
next
Isn't there grass right there?
Next to the food pantry.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, in between, I don't know where the property lines are, I haven't actually
I
looked,
don't
but there
either.
is grass between the building at the
There is,
salon or
yeah.
whatever it was, and then the food pantry, and there is a drive that goes back there, which I believe is an alley, not a driveway.
There is an alley on
The way it looks.
the back
And
side of it.
why couldn't we already have that?
And that would help.
It would help the food
Steve,
pantry.
Because Steve, right? Because you're about ready to open. Congratulations, by the way.
Well, how much dining
I
are you gonna
can't
have?
wait.
Yeah.
How much indoor seating are you
I
gonna
think
have?
we're at time.
Not very much.
24 to
Oh wow,
28.
that's good.
24.
Okay, I didn't think it'd be that much, but that's great.
Oh my gosh.
It's
that's
bigger in there than what it looks. We didn't use the whole thing, of course, but yeah.
No, yeah, but that's good.
I mean, once we put the tables in there, maybe that'll change, but we bought enough for 28, so.
Oh, good.
You're gonna do
No, that's great.
You're gonna do well.
Just make a good plate.
Everyone asks us to please put food in those buildings, and we're like, we can't even get them ready yet.
Yeah. Well, I thought about it, but parking's the reason,
Yeah,
you know, and there's no good place to pull up for pickup there,
that's what everyone
so.
keeps asking us, well, where's your parking?
Yeah, that's what deters business. That's one of the things that comes up is, you know, what can we do to attract business? Well, parking is the number one thing. Till you get that, it's not gonna
No, I've said that for a few years.
it's not gonna matter.
Can't develop without some
You
parking.
just need a
So the lot that the food pantry sits on
Probably.
is 0.16 acres total.
Right now, you're getting pizza.
So that lot's not as big as
What it looks.
what it looks in.
It's 0.16 acres total, and then the building, they also have picnic tables on the east side of it, in order to, you know, have outdoor, events there. The building itself is
So the salon owns further north towards that property then basically? They have the majority of the grassy area?
basically those, I mean, that's a block from there's an alley on the west side of the food pantry, and then there's an alley on the north side of the food pantry. And so the food pantry and that, what used to be the massage therapy studio, it's almost an exact duplicate, so 2 even lots there. So, and building itself is 34 foot by 20 foot. So it's taking up that much space of that quarter acre,
Do you think we could still
or not even
add a
quarter
few
acre,
parking
but a
spaces
fourth of it. Or,
on the back side of that just for the food pantry to get people off the road a little bit? I know they do a drive-through, but the workers have to park somewhere. To give them some parking back there since that is an alley, it wouldn't take a couple loads of stone and 2 or 3 hours worth of skips here, so less than $1,000. Put some park to improve that, maybe, I don't know. A thought, it doesn't solve this problem, the bigger problem, but.
Right.
have we entertained talking to the board of the Presbyterian Church? They have a lot that is
To the west there, ain't
just, I mean, it's borders Steve's new Pizza King.
Right,
So-
and that's, it says you're welcome to park, they have a sign on it, says you're welcome to park there as long as it doesn't, they got some little
The
thing.
church event on
Yeah,
Amber
church
Times
event,
on
yeah,
Sundays.
yeah.
it? The church owns that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause I know-
that gravel
Cause
lot.
Ryan and his wife
Yeah,
are, they park, their customers park there when they have the cafe.
that'd be good parking
They
for
have
you there.
permission to, yeah.
Yeah,
Why
It'll
doesn't
be-
it list the acreage of that?
I need a couple spots
Yeah, you
right
could
behind the
almost-
fence.
You could almost take them
I don't get Beacon. Sometimes
If
it's
you-
got
if you-
really clear
on that
information,
grass to that
sometimes it
fence.
doesn't.
Yeah.
If you talk to them,
It's just a
you can
guide.
just bring some stone there to that fence.
Yeah.
I mean, some of
Yeah,
it would
just
not be
like
on property, but you could actually bring the stone up to that fence and stone that area and make more parking.
Okay, it's also
If you want
0.16
to be able to
acres,
see
and
from here,
it's
but I need
like I said, it
right
doesn't
behind
have
the
a
fence,
building
as
on
the
it.
fence opens back there, and that's where the deliveries come in,
Mm.
which is their property, so anybody can park there, so I'm
Well,
hoping I can ask
if
them
you
about
had-
that.
could you have it, I know the gate is already there, but could you have the guy put a gate in
Yeah.
or take the fence down? I mean, I don't know if you want the fence or need the
Yeah, I
fence.
definitely want the fence, but yeah.
You know, if you could come in right here on the north side of, you know, if you gravel that grass, that might solve that.
Which is an alley.
That's an old alley,
What is
yeah.
that big flat
I just saw it,
concrete
I
pad
mean,
just
I don't know if it would help you or not.
east
Looking at the
as
map is not
you're
the same
leaving
thing.
the road,
Right.
right?
Although it shows that alley as being part of Shepherd's Electrical Contracting.
That's Chippy's.
There's
Yeah.
that big large
That's
building
funny.
and then there's a concrete pad.
So I didn't think we,
Roy and Vicky Short.
Is the old guy still on that?
I've
building?
never seen more than one car on
Did you
there.
buy it?
We didn't buy
it's
it,
just
it's right
storage.
It's electrical lady that bought it.
there. It's, yeah,
Or I
Chevy.
mean, they have an electrical.
Yeah,
That's
he's
just where the
electrician.
personal
She
property
does
Shuttle
is.
it.
Drive is also.
Christine does the,
It's like, and then it was like,
I
did
didn't
you
know
sell
it got
that to
sold, I
the
thought the guy
town?
still owned
it
it.
was
Water
her,
main?
her dad,
Cause I mean,
I believe, is
It's
who
just
owns it.
Still in that same family,
I believe so,
yeah.
so, yeah. His wife does real estate, he does electrical.
So are you keeping the whole big building that comes all the way, not where the gypsy did in, but the one that goes all the way to the,
the one that runs east and west?
yes,
Yes, that actually,
that has the truck dock or something at the back, if I remember right.
right, if you look at the building, I was talking to, I'm sorry, I'm not slept in through, we have a new grandbaby, so I'm slept in through, but, if you look at our building, it looks like it's one big long building that facing the west, but that's actually 3 buildings.
Mhm.
In addition to that little brick building in the back that Don is renting from us. So it would be the far north end of it, that right behind our church building that we have Jeff's business in, that one is the largest building. So
Right.
when you go in there, it runs all the way to whatever that other, I call it the post office alley, I don't know what
Right.
it's called.
That's what I was looking at, I was just curious. if you-
Right, that's the one we're opening soon, but we're only opening phase 1 of it, cause we can't do phase 2 yet, we don't have any money. But, so yeah, we're doing phase 1 pretty soon, we're hoping to open that and start renting booths, and, we have to get, some other things done, but yeah, we've been, we submitted our, blueprints and all that to the state, and
I was just curious, cause I was looking at the aerial, the alley that was vacated. I know that you need the majority of the parking lot for your machine shop side, can you put parking stalls at an angle
We're gonna have to use the majority of it
like,
for the business, not our
up to
business.
this?
Yeah, we're
on
gonna
that
use it,
limit?
we're gonna even tell people that Gypsy Din can park there. I mean, we don't have any other choice, because if we really want those buildings to generate a lot of interest, we have to provide parking. So we're just gonna have a small area of that, first front building, that used to be George's. We're just gonna use a tiny bit of that for us for a Legit Precision Tool now. I don't know what we'll do if a semi drops something off, I'm not sure what we'll do.
Turn the forward on, I don't know.
So right now, they can pull right in there.
I know.
But the town uses it also, I mean, and I hate to take it away from the town, they cut through there and they park in there for the post office and everything.
I was
So
just looking that you could put parking stalls at an angle up to the long building. So you'd be on the south side of that building at an angle part thing, people could pull in and park if you designate, you got stripe, which would be hard on gravel, but if you pay,
Yeah,
eventually if you paid it, you could have quite a few parking
Yeah.
spaces, and they could come up that alley and go right into the other businesses that are in there.
we would
Are
love to
we-
be able to pave it.
No,
Are
I
we,
understand.
on the clock now, or?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, we got that parking.
Well, that's definitely something we need to continue to watch, and I'll work on. I'll see if I can get a hold of the Barneses and find out.
And like I said, we also have entertained talking to Mr. and Mrs. Denny about their property, turning that into a parking lot, which that's west of the food store here. They're just using it as a parking lot right now anyway. There's a bunch of vehicles over there all the time. Pooley's keeps his HVAC business vehicles in there sometimes. There's trailers that are pulled in there and left. So, you know,
I think you'll find Randy to be very willing to do things like that.
I mean, from what I was told, the last time somebody approached Randy about that, he said if you can convince Mrs. Denny to sell it, it's yours.
Oh, really?
So that's what I had heard.
I don't know what spot you're talking
So
about.
you know where the Clayton food store is?
Yes.
Right behind it on the west side. So if you take Kentucky, there's a vacant lot there,
Okay,
and there's actually, it's 2 lots on Beacon, but you could
Oh.
buy it as one lot, pave it, stripe it.
okay.
It's town parking, right? I mean,
That'd
that's
be really nice.
very close. So,
Okay.
yeah, there used to be a church there years ago. It burned down,
Nazarene
so-
Church.
But, so those are options if anybody, you know, has contacts of those people and wants to continue that talk, is try to get them, you know, moving forward on, yeah, I'd be willing to, you know, to sell for that purpose of having a parking lot that would help the town. I mean, the town business district would definitely benefit from additional parking.
Could we formulate a template for a really nice letter and maybe have Debbie look at it and see if it's appropriate and then submit that to them? Just mail it to them, or
And we can do that, but I've known Randy for years. I mean,
Just call them.
Oh, okay.
I just call him.
Okay. I didn't know if we had to
No,
like,
I-
propose a formal letter, I don't
No, I-
know.
And here's the thing too, we have a great big huge parking lot right there that doesn't get used majority of the weekends or anything.
Yeah, but Monday through Friday you can't park there because of the school rule.
Oh, I understand that.
They frequently lock that gate also just to keep vandalism down and that kind of stuff. I mean,
I didn't know if it was something that would be worth approaching to say, can we use that on the weekends, especially like if she brings a bunch of stores, you have a bunch of stores in your buildings, people coming and going. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's not gonna, it's gonna be no different than walking, at
No, like
Metropolis or something, but
right, or
there's a
Franklin, Indiana,
perfect.
yeah.
yeah, there would have to be an interlocal agreement between the town and the school corporation.
Right. I just didn't know if it was something, just an idea popped in my head.
Literally anything, any spot of parking we can come up with would be awesome.
What about the Always House?
I've talked to Roy, but he thinks it's worth about $170,000.
This one?
Yeah. that'll just be a matter of time.
I'm just curious, cause I know we
Yeah.
talk about it.
No, I've talked to him. So. All right, so parking is a priority. We'll start next month. We'll start going through our building and planning books a little bit. So if you have some time and can't sleep at night, start reading. Some days it makes Leviticus looks good. But I'd like to start going through that kind of section at a time, see if we can start making some notes in it and looking at what was actually planned in 9, and we can go, I mean, we're 12 years out. Let's see how far off we are, how close we are, those kinds of things, and go through that. Anybody done anything else? I'm gonna adjourn the meeting. That's good. Meeting adjourned.